Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I cannot thank you enough for coming back every Friday. We started this with a motive to make the diamonds in the rough shine bright and get a little bit of limelight. This was not just catered to people coping well with COVID 19, but also the ones who've made it possible for us to survive and contain this spread. Today, I have a hero who didn't star in a movie, but a frontline warrior who is tirelessly working to give us a happy ending. He's a doctor who is actively treating COVID 19 patients in Delhi while completing his master's in surgery. With these testing times snowballing, it is important we unravel the ground facts about the current situation. And who better than a doctor could explain this to us? Without any further ado, welcoming Hitesh Sardar as my guest today. Thank you, Hitesh, for taking our time and doing this for us.
Thank you so much, Priyanka, for having me. I think this is the first time I'm doing this, so I'm really excited. Let's get started.
Let's get started. As a kid, all of us thought, we'll be a scientist or a doctor. But looks like you took your childhood very, very seriously. What was that one thing that inspired you to become a doctor and a surgeon in particular?
Actually, I think even as a child, even I was same as how everyone else was. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I think in 12th, I got interested in medicine by actually looking at a show. I think everyone would have heard of House MD. So I was really fascinated by the show. So that was one reason that I took up medicine. And surgery I took up because of my sister, more or less because of my sister.
So you probably had an inspiration in your house to actually get you started with medicine, right?
Yes, definitely. My sister played a big role in that. She was, you can say, she's the real life inspiration behind me doing medicine. And all her stories that she used to tell me when she's come back home from, her MBBS times. Today I cut this open, today I cut that open, today I saw this organ, today we saw this patient. So it was really cool to see. Plus, the show also helped a little bit, with the doctors and the stethoscopes and their lives and the weird ass words that they use. So it was really fascinating at that time. So I thought, let's give it a try. What you guys see on the TV shows and what happens in real life in the hospital is completely different. It's not like, what do you call a celebrity life that you have, that you have lights going and people just, listen to whatever you say. And when house says something and people listen, that's not how it is. The working condition where doctors work is very different. Like the first year where you have in your residency, you do not get time to eat, you do not get time to sleep, talk to people that you know, and it's like I have survived on water for days on end, like hours together. Just go back, drink water, fill my stomach, and then come back and work again. And all we had was one meal a day, and crazy ass work, not taking baths for like 8-9 days. I remember in my first year there was one time wherein my senior stood next to me. I'm like, इसको नहाने भेज. He's like, अभी तो महक आने लग गया ऐसे इसको नहाने भेजो आज. I think the longest time I'm not taking bath like 8 days, I guess. So that's never going to go away, I guess.
Right. You've seen the strongest pillar during these pandemics that those are the frontline warriors, and they did not have a weak spot ever. But I guess they would have had, and they did not discuss that with anybody. Would you want to discuss your weak spots with us?
I guess before joining duty, all of us also were really scared of getting infected ourselves. The people who were staying here with their parents were scared that they might infect their relatives back home. So, I think before we joined our duties, a couple of us met and then, we just told ourselves that, there is a possibility that more or less we'll all turn positive. So we had that notion at the back of our head and then we decided that, okay, fine, if we just get positive, all we can do is just chill at the ward and be a patient for 40 days and then just go back. And after that, I think things got a little better. And I think after that helped a little bit. So since then, I think the insecurities about getting infected and the COVID ward scare that.
So that fear is not there in you anymore, right?
No, I think once we've decided on something and made up our mind, I don't think that fear is there, and we don't have place for that fear anymore. Because if we are scared about those things, then we can't work on the things we're supposed to.
Correct. But Hitesh, I think the people who are listening are also aware that this pandemic could reach them sometime or the other in this year. Tell us how scared we should be or how panic is the situation there, and how can we contain that in our minds?
See, the thing is, the virus as such is not deadly. It's more infective. So it's about 86% of the people get infected but are asymptomatic. 12% out of them, out of 12 other percent are the ones who have minor symptoms. Only about 2% of the people get severe infection. So more or less everyone falls in the 96 to 98% of the category. 2% are the ones in the hospital and in the ICU. So it's not very scary as such, but yeah, you have to maintain social distancing. You have to take all the necessary precautions to prevent, because you do not know whether you're going to fall into that 2% category or the rest 98%.
Correct.
And I don't think if it's absolutely necessary, you don't have to go out or do anything. Might as well stay indoors and be safe.
I agree, but there are a lot of livelihoods that depend on people who are going out right now. And if these social distancing norms are still operational, there is very little scope of working. What do you see as a situation in the times to come?
I think everyone, as of now, the government is planning to make sure that the people work with corona or live with corona. That's how it is going on. And there's something called herd immunity that works in viruses and all these infections, wherein around 60 to 65% of the community is infected, and then they recover, and then the virus loses its virulence. So I think that's what is eventually going to happen, but that will take a time. And otherwise, the other option is that there'll be a vaccine that will be developed in the next year or so to come, because there's a new collaboration that has happened between 34 countries. So they're planning on getting a vaccine. If a vaccine comes in, then everything will get speeded up a little more.
Cool, super. Good to know about the actual situation there and in the world over. But also, Hitesh, I think you would have had some breaks in the COVID-19 wards, because there are patients like that who give you an opportunity to laugh, smile, or be grateful for. Did you have any such incidents where you actually were able to discuss that with your peers and your loved ones, that this was something funny that happened?
Yeah, actually, a couple of incidents had happened. I was taking a ward in my COVID ward, and there's the female section there is. So there's a cubicle that is made. So I went up there and I knocked at the door, and they took a good 5 minutes to open the door. I don't know what they were doing. And then they came out, and then I asked them how they're doing. And then they said they're all fine. And then one lady came up from behind, and then she's like, the food is good, but I'm not getting any Coca-Cola. I want Coca-Cola. And then I'm like, okay, fine. I'll try to arrange some Coca-Cola for you. And you want some ice cream to go with that? She's like, yeah, ice cream would do. That would be really nice. So that one incident was pretty funny. And there was another guy who was...
So might as well ask for whatever you want.
Yeah, I mean, the people had very basic requirements that time. They were not so sick, but yeah, that was one of the things that I remember most.
So is it allowed to have Coke and ice creams while you're there in the wards?
In the wards, no, but it's not available to them. Whatever is available comes from outside itself. So only if we got them something like that, it was happening. And even there was one other incident wherein there was somebody's birthday in the ward, and my senior was on duty. So since they could not get that guy a cake, and it was like I think 12 in the night or something, so all the doctors and the staff there made a small chart and wrote messages for him, and then they gave it to him on his birthday. So that I think was really sweet of my senior to do that.
Yeah.
That was a very, very pleasing moment, that despite all the work that was, they all took out time, wrote messages, and they gave it to him. It was really nice.
A lot of such memories that you really hold close to you. And probably these senior years have actually given you more exposure than anything else, because this is the first time you're staying away from your house, right? So
yes, this is the first time.
Be even more special because of that, right?
True.
Moving on, I think you would have also had some breaks because of the COVID-19 duty not being very regular for you, since you're from surgery. So what did you do in your breaks? What were your source of entertainment, and who's that one entertainer who actually did not miss entertaining you all through?
I guess at the start I was making a lot of Zoom calls and catching up with a lot of friends, so that helped a bit. And then I think I watched a couple of shows. There was Good Doctor. I think it's a medical series again. And there was Friends. I watched Friends again, as everyone does. So I think Chandler is my favorite character. So that's there.
Let's see you enacting Chandler then.
I'm not so good at pretending Chandler, but I can do a Janice if you want.
Okay, bring it on.
All right, let me give it a try. I might not be so good at it. So here goes. And she's like, oh my God.
Hitesh, the next time I'm going to do an interview with you, I would want you to be dressed up as Janice so that we can actually picture you like that.
No, that would be really bad, man. What would my patients do then? They'll get confused whom to go to, Janice or Hitesh.
They anyway actually would have assumed that you're really young to treat them, because I think a lot of doctors actually get this since they look very young. Probably they are not as experienced as a fat or an old doctor. Do you have anything to say about that?
Yeah, a couple of incidents have actually happened. Like I used to use that to my advantage when I was a junior. Like when I used to go for a referral in my first years, and I was new, so nobody knew me around. So what I used to do was I used to just be there, and they used to ask me, "Ki, which department are you from?" And then if they're going to scold me, I used to say, "Ma'am, I'm an intern," and then they should just let me go. And if there was something to praise me about, I'm like, "Ma'am, I'm a surgery teacher." So that worked in my favor.
But has there any patient who's told you that, I don't think you're capable enough to handle my situation right now?
Yeah, a lot of such incidents have happened actually. I remember in my first year, I had gone to get a couple of dates from the radiology department. So I was not wearing my lab coat. I was just in my stead, and not even my stead. I was just walking around. And since I look very, small and everything, I was standing in the queue, and there's this patient. He's like, "Arey, line mein aao." And I'm like, "Arey, main doctor hu yaar, line mein kya aao?"
Super. But Hitesh, you would have had some difference between your duties as a surgeon in your final year and the duties that you had at the COVID-19 wards. Tell us what was the difference that you actually saw?
The surgical duties that we have are completely different. The hours that are there are very rigorous. Like if we have an emergency that runs for more than 32, 33 hours, and we are in the OT most of the time, either all night, and it's really busy that time. The COVID ward is slightly different for a surgical resident working there. I was not working in the ICU, so we had 12-hour shifts. So 12-hour shifts were manageable. And the only problem was the PPE. It was a little difficult to wear and stay in that for really long. So that was the difficult part, and if we had to operate in the PPE, that was a task to do because it was hardly visible, and everything was foggy and very difficult to see. So that was a little challenge. But otherwise, the surgical duties were more rigorous compared to the COVID duties. I think duties that time were a little difficult. Here they were a little strenuous. It was a lot of it's like you have to dress up and then go and then do something and then come back and then dress down again. So that was a procedure that we're not used to as surgeons.
Correct.
We just like to walk in anywhere we want and make our statement and then just walk out. So we're not used to prepping so much.
But how effective is this PPE? You really think that it's actually containing you from the spread?
PPE is very important. A good quality PPE prevents infection to a certain extent, like about 90-95%. But 5%, there is still chances of getting infected. All around the world, even in India, I have had my colleagues who have got infected and who have been admitted with COVID despite wearing and taking all the precautions. So that is why we say that staying away and taking all the precautions is really important. But the PPE is not 100% foolproof.
And I can imagine in this heat in Delhi, it would have been really, really difficult.
Yeah, it's like a sauna. Like a sauna inside that PPE.
Okay, Hitesh, moving on to my next segment, which is called the rapid fire round. You are given a question and you need to answer in a jiffy, where we would want you to actually pick as the best alternative that you think, right?
All right.
Super.
Do I get a gift hamper at the end of it?
Yeah, in case you do it well, probably yes. And if this gets a lot of views and this gets a lot of likes, I think you're getting a hamper anyway.
Yeah.
Super. First for you in the rapid fire round, Hitesh, if you have to pick between the memories that you created at KIMS of the MBBS days and Maulana Azad Medical College of your surgical days, what would you choose as the closest memory to your heart?
I think I choose Mamsi because Mamsi holds closer to me because I think I grew up as a person from a boy to a man probably here. I learned a lot, and in MBBS I learned how to be a good student, and I became a doctor. But here I learned how to be a good doctor and a surgeon and what I want to be for the rest of my life. So all those experiences culminated to me being that.
So Maulana Azad, we take it, right?
Yes, Maulana Azad.
Okay, to all your friends who are listening from KIMS, they should actually be aware. Best alternative to surgery in the medical field.
Next alternative to surgery in the medical field. I don't think I choose anything besides surgery. All I've ever known is that I want surgery since the time I took it. I wouldn't want anything else.
Yeah, but in case there was no option as surgery, what would you pick?
I think I'd probably pick orthopedics. I wouldn't look good like an ortho guy with pulling and pushing bones and everything, but still I think I take ortho because it's surgical somewhat.
So if you're not treating the organs, you're treating the bones.
Yeah.
Super. Next, best alternative to the medical field.
I think when I was in my graduation in 10th grade, there was a little slip that was supposed to write as to what you want to be. So I written that time that I want to be a scientist. So I would not go back on what I had written. So I just say that I'd probably be a scientist. Otherwise, probably go to aviation pilot or something.
Okay, that's very varied though. But okay, we take it. A hospital or a doctor that you would want to work for in the near future.
The nearest future, I think I want to work with my sister. She has always blasted me all throughout MBBS saying that I'm not, doing this right or doing that right. So I really want to work with her and see how it is.
Okay, is there a hospital that you would want to mention that you would want to work for after working with your sister?
Hospital that I want to work for. I think there was this, as of now, the specialty that I want to take is in Delhi. So I really want to work at that hospital here in Delhi. It's a hospital that's right next door. It's GV Pant. I think you won't have heard of it. So I think as of now, the most recent one is that I want to work there.
Okay. Your inspiration to be a medical practitioner?
My grandfather.
Super. Okay. An illusion or a myth that you would want to bust about the doctors that people believe?
I think people believe doctors are little boring characters or little serious characters that they have all they do in their lives is study or probably treat patients. But that's not it. Doctors have a lot of fun as well, and I think we have better jokes to crack compared to you guys. And we're fun too. Like, that's one myth I think I would want to bust.
Okay. A key learning that you picked up along the way in the medical field?
I think it is more important to be a good person rather than being a good doctor. If you are a good person, you eventually become a good doctor.
Okay. Your tip to anybody who's taking up medicine as their career?
I think a lot of people right now do not want to take up medicine as their career, saying that it's a long course or, the condition of doctors here in the country is not very good. They're not respected and there's no job satisfaction or money or anything like that. But at the end of the day, I think there's a small story behind this. I remember I was in my internship and there was this party I had to go to in the evening and I was on duty. And all my friends were constantly calling me, bro, you're not here, come here, this is awesome, we're having so much fun. And that night, I think I saved 4 lives. So the next morning when I went back and I was driving the bike back, all I could think of was those 4 lives that I saved. And that made so much of a difference to me. So I think that feeling of saving someone's life is completely out of the world. It is better than any other adrenaline rush that you'll ever get. So I think you should work for that feeling. And that is why you should take up the career. If you have the passion towards it.
Super. Thank you, Hitesh. This was great. Any last words you want to say before we wrap up?
I think I'd ask everyone to be safe. And I think that's all from me. And if anybody else wants some online consultation, I can do that.
Great. Thank you, Hitesh. Thank you so much for doing this. I have loved this episode.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me with you.